There are people making millions from real estate right now, and then there are people who think they understand real estate, but they're playing the wrong game entirely. See, most people think a real estate investor is just someone who buys a house and rents it out. That's it. One type. One strategy. But that's like saying there's only one type of doctor. A surgeon and a psychiatrist are both doctors. But put them in each other's jobs and everything falls apart. Real estate investing is the same. There are 6 completely different types of investors, each with a different mindset, different risk level, and a different way of making money. And if you pick the wrong one for who you are, you will lose. So today we're breaking down every type of real estate investor, what they actually do, and which one you might actually be. Let's start with the most boring one. And I mean that as a compliment. The core investor. This person doesn't want excitement. They want a machine. A property that prints money quietly, every single month without drama. Core investors target what's called Class A real estate. Think gleaming office towers in Manhattan, luxury apartment buildings in prime city centers, or major retail spaces occupied by massive brands on 10-year leases. These properties are already fully occupied. The tenants have perfect credit. The leases are long-term. Nothing needs fixing. You essentially buy stability. Returns are predictable, somewhere between 6% and 10% annually. Not explosive, but consistent. Core investors use very little debt, typically around 40% to 45% leverage. They are playing defense, not offense. Think of them like someone who buys government bonds instead of stocks. Safe, steady, boring in the best possible way. This is the retired billionaire who doesn't need more money. He just needs to not lose what he has. Then there's the investor who looked at core and said, I want just a little more. The core plus investor. Same idea, slightly more risk, slightly more reward. Core plus properties are still high quality, still in good locations, still mostly occupied but not perfect. Maybe the building is slightly older. Maybe the location is great but not premium. Maybe the lease terms are a bit shorter. There's a little room to improve, and that room is where core plus investors make their extra money. Returns here sit between 9% and 13% annually. Debt usage goes up slightly to around 60%. It's the investment equivalent of buying a nearly new car with a small scratch. You got it for a discount, you fix the scratch, and now it's worth full price. Lower drama, moderate upside. These investors are disciplined, patient, and okay with not swinging for the fences. Now we start getting into the interesting territory, the value-add investor. This person walks into a building other investors have ignored, low occupancy, outdated interiors, mismanaged operations, and sees a completely different thing. They see potential. Value-add investors are essentially real estate surgeons. They diagnose what's broken, fix it, and the property becomes worth dramatically more. Maybe the building is half empty because no one has renovated it in 15 years. They renovate. Rents go up, tenants arrive, property value explodes. Returns jump to 11% to 15% annually, and leverage goes up to 60% to 75%. But this is not passive. This is active, hands-on, demanding work. Execution risk is real. If the renovation goes over budget, if the market shifts while you're mid-renovation, if the tenants don't come, you're in trouble. Value-add investing rewards skill and punishes carelessness. This is not a strategy for beginners. This is for the investor who is also a problem solver. And then there's the player who takes it all the way to the edge, the opportunistic investor. If value-add is surgery, opportunistic investing is building the hospital from scratch. These investors take on the most complex, most dangerous projects in real estate. We're talking ground-up development, vacant land, completely empty buildings, industrial sites being converted into residential towers. There is often zero income at the start. For the first 3 years, you may see nothing. No rent, no cash flow. Just capital going out and faith that the plan will work. Leverage goes above 70%, sometimes as high as a bank will allow. But when it works, returns exceed 20% annually. This is how fortunes are built, and also how fortunes are lost. Opportunistic investors need years of experience, a strong team, deep pockets, and nerves that don't flinch. This is the highest risk, highest reward position in all of real estate. Most people should not start here, but understanding it, that matters. Now we switch entirely to the individual investor, the everyday person who wants in, the active individual investor. This is the person who buys a rental property, manages it themselves, deals with tenants, fixes leaking pipes at 2 a.m., and builds wealth one property at a time. They are completely hands-on. They find deals, negotiate prices, manage renovations, screen tenants, collect rent. It is a second job, sometimes a first job, but the upside is total control. No middleman. No fund manager taking a cut. Every decision is yours. Every dollar of profit is yours. Many of the world's wealthiest self-made people started exactly here. One small property, managed personally, scaled slowly. It requires time, knowledge, and stomach for stress. But for someone willing to learn, it remains one of the most powerful wealth-building paths available to an ordinary person. And finally, the investor who wants all the benefits with none of the headaches. The passive REIT investor. REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. This is how you invest in massive real estate portfolios, shopping malls, hospital buildings, logistics warehouses, without owning a single property yourself. You buy shares like buying stock. The REIT collects the rent, manages the properties, handles everything. You get dividends quarterly. It is the most accessible form of real estate investing on the planet. You can start with a few $100s. No tenants, no maintenance, no 2 a.m. phone calls. The trade-off is that you have zero control, and returns, while solid, will never match what a skilled hands-on investor can achieve. But for millions of people, this is the perfect entry point. Real estate exposure with the simplicity of the stock market. 6 types. 6 completely different games. The core investor protects wealth. The core plus investor grows it carefully. The value-add investor earns through execution. The opportunistic investor bets big on transformation. The active individual builds from the ground up with their own hands. And the passive REIT investor participates without ever touching a property. None of them is wrong. All of them can win. The only mistake is picking a strategy that doesn't match who you actually are, your risk tolerance, your time, your experience, your goals. Because in real estate, the wrong strategy for the right person is still the wrong strategy. Now you know the difference. Use it.